Hey everyone, welcome back. In the last video, we saw about the challenge 1 and the challenge 2 of the XSS, which were quite a simple challenge or beginner level challenge. In this video, we are going to level up and we are going to see challenge number 3 and challenge number 4 basically. Okay. So on the challenge number 3 page, we can see the challenge name is there, mission description is there, mission objective is there, then there is a mission target obviously, and then there is a code. Okay, so here we are not going to check all of the details because in the real life scenario we don't get to see all of these clues while solving the, let's say, exercise, while finding the exercise, right? So we are just going to pretend that we are a new user, we don't nothing about these clues, and just we are going to proceed. Okay, so let's have a look at our target. So what exactly our target? So our targets say XSS game export.com level 3 frame 1 and hash 1 is there. Okay, so in the body we can see three buttons are there: image 1, image 2, image 3, and obviously the image 1 is displayed by default, and in the box the image is present. Great. Now let's go ahead and let's click on the image 2. Okay, so when I click on the image 2, one thing happened. In the URL, 1 is changed to the 2, and in the body image 2 string appeared. Let's do with the 3 and same thing is happening. That means whatever we enter in the URL, that is appearing in the body. So let's do quick thing. Let's try to enter 11 here or any number here, right? So when I press enter, can you see the image is not loaded, but I can see in the body the image 11 or image number is present there. Okay, so this might be the vulnerable point here. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's try to inspect element and let's see how the buttons are functioning. So when I right click and click on the inspect element, can you see right here it is calling the function, the JavaScript function, and the function name is choose a tab, and inside that function it is passing the argument which is the tab number. So when I click on the image number 1 button, it will just say choose a tab 1 and it will load the image for the tab 1 and it will display the image 1 in the body and it will change in the URL also. Interesting. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try to check the source of the app. Okay, so here we have two options to check the source. Either we can right click on it and click on the view source, and there we will see challenge source. From there we can check the source. In the source also we have two options. First is the JavaScript code of the source or HTML plus JavaScript code of the source, and another is Python code, which is the backend code which is being used to host this particular challenge. So you might be wondering why they are sending the backend code to us, because in order to understand how the backend is processing your request. Okay, it might be possible that in the few challenges you need to look into the backend code also, because the vulnerability not only exists in the front end, it can cause because of the backend code also. So that's why they are showing the backend code also. Okay, the second method is, if you scroll a little bit, there is an option called toggle code available in your just below your challenge window, right? So when you click on that, it will show you the code directly. Okay, this is the most simple way to go, but I prefer you should right click and click on the source and then check the code, because that usually is the case. In real life scenario we don't get ready-made code. We need to check our code ourselves and we need to figure out what is happening in the code. Okay, before moving forward, I'll suggest that you should download the VS code. So if you are doing in the cyber security, you are learning about the XSS, then obviously you already know what is a VS code. Okay, so if you don't know, just Google it, find the tutorial, download it and install it. Okay, let's continue. So in the VS code, why I'm suggesting using the VS code? So we are going to copy this particular JavaScript code of the application and paste in the VS code. So what is the benefit of pasting in the VS code? VS code has a syntax detector. That means it will automatically identify which language the code is using, obviously the JavaScript in this case, but it will highlight the part of the code. Let's say I want to check how many functions are there. Can you see the functions are already highlighted in this particular color, right? So it is easier to read the code, it is easier to make a sense of the code, right? Okay, so let's look into the our code, what exactly is happening. So if I divide our code into the three part, then I can see first part is choose tab function, which is a JavaScript function. Then there is a second part of the code, which is window dot onload equals to function and whatever the executing is. That's the second part of the code. And obviously the third part of the code is window dot add event listener message, whatever it is. So if you know, then third part is kind of useless, because this third part is related to the challenge itself, right? It is detecting if we are getting alert or not, and it is basically sending that message to somewhere, probably the out of the iframe, right? So just ignore the third part, focus on the first part and second part. So as we know, the first part is quite familiar, because it is being used in the HTML buttons also. So they are using choose tab function and they are passing number in it, right? So that's the first part. In the second part, can you see it is saying window.onload? That means whenever the content of the website is loaded in the window, then do choose tab and whatever the code is and double slash, sorry, not double slash, double pipe, and then there is a one. So basically I'll explain what is happening here. It is executing the choose tab function when the website is getting loaded, okay? And if it is checking is there anything in the URL, if there is any new while loading the website, if there is any number in the URL, it will just try to load that particular number image in the body. But if there is a nothing like no number, then by default it will pick number one and it will load the number one image, which is whatever the one image is there. Okay, so let's forget about the second part also, as you understand what is the second part is doing. Let's focus on the first part, choose tab function. So as you can see in the choose tab function, it is taking argument, which is number that we are passing in the URL, right? So when it is taking the number, let's try to highlight where this number is being used inside the function. So obviously the number is being used in the fourth line also, then the fifth line, and then there is a 8th line is there, okay? And after that I think 13 line is also using that particular number. So let's see what is happening in the first line. In the first line it is saying var HTML, that means it is creating a HTML variable, and it is saying image plus parse int number and plus br. So br means break the line, okay? So here it is getting passed into the parse int function. So what is exactly parse int function? Suppose I am passing this string to the parse int function, let's say 4 and 0, then it will convert that into the number 40. That means we can extract the integer value from the string. So that's what the parse int function is doing. So no matter what string we are passing, it will always just extract the number. So the parse int function is useless for us as of attacker, because the input is directly getting converted into the number, so there is no chance we are getting executed XSS in that, right? So as you can see, the parse int is happening in the line 4th also, and if you go a little bit below, then line 13 also it is happening parse int. So let's neglect those two lines because that are not useful in our case, right? Let's focus on the line number 5 and line number 8. So in the line number 8 also it is saying window.location.hash equals to number. So that means whatever we are passing, it will automatically added into the URL. That's a normal thing if you know about the websites, right? So let's ignore that particular part also. The interesting part is part number 5, line number 5, which is saying HTML plus equals then image tag, the source of the image, and it is directly injecting the number whatever we are passing, the number string whatever passing into that particular path of the image, right? So yeah, that's interesting because they are not validating the user's input. First rule of the security is always sanitize the user input, always check for the errors in the user input, always basically don't trust the user input, okay? So but here they are trusting the user input and directly adding into the image path, okay? So let's go back to our challenge page and let's see what is exactly happening. So when I add number 1, can you see here it is showing the one cloud, right? So images cloud 1 is there, okay? So when I enter 2, obviously the cloud 2 is there. When I enter 11, then cloud 11.jpg is there. So what if I break that logic? How? So it is expecting to pass the string, but what if we pass something else? Let's say I am passing the single quote, then what will happen? So when I pass the single quote, and can you see in the body the logic is breaking. The source of the URL is only the slash static slash level 3 and cloud, and it is closing there, it is not completing. If I compare with the original one, which is last one, it looks like this. The full code is there, cloud1.jpg or cloud2.jpg is there, right? But when we add single quote, it is breaking the logic. Okay, now we can take the benefit of this. So can you see in the logic or in the code, so it is creating an image tag, then the source is there, and after the cloud word, the source is getting closed with the double quotes, right? And after that, whatever is there, it is just hanging in the air. So what if we just close that image tag? What will happen? So let's try to close that image tag, and can you see whatever is left after that image tag closing, it is appearing in the body of the challenge. That means in the HTML body. So that means that's where we can inject our code. So let's try to do a little bit smart move. Let's try to add our script here. So I'll say script, then alert one, and then I will close the script tag and hit the enter, and I'll check the body of the code, what is happening. Okay, so it is adding the script tag, which is good, but I'm not getting alert. What is wrong? So okay, so if you see, I missed the bracket of the alert. So let's go back, they change the bracket of the alert and make the code right, and then hit enter, and voila, we got the alert on the page. And this is how we solve the third challenge of the XSS. So yeah, stay tuned and see you in the next video.